Hello and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Cody Proctor. Each weekend, we walk you through the headlines from the past week in the Inland Northwest. Let's get started with one of the biggest news stories of the past few days.
Well, Kaya Allen says she and several other people were on their way to Spokane from Seattle, and in an instant, she was thrown from her seat in a shower of glass. 4 people were killed and several more hurt after a teenage driver crashed head-on into a Spokane charter bus. It happened Sunday afternoon on State Route 28 near Wenatchee as Kaya Allen traveled home to Spokane from Seattle.
All of a sudden, I just felt like the brakes slam, and I was like, oh, what the hell just happened? And then bam, just everything, glass went everywhere. There's screaming, I didn't even know what was going on. We were just kind of started tumbling.
She took these videos after the collision that took the lives of 2 teens and the bus driver. Washington State Patrol Trooper Jeremy Weber says 4 people on the bus were critically hurt. 1 later died at the hospital.
We can't speculate on why the car did, if it was a bad pass, what the reason was.
WSP says a Toyota Camry driven by a 17-year-old went into the eastbound lane and collided with the bus.
The whole front is completely got blown off. I remember I just realized what happened. We were tilted and I looked up and all of a sudden I could see the sky.
Rebecca Niemeyer was right behind the Camry.
But it was a no pass zone and they weren't even trying to speed up. There wasn't even any kind of jerky motion when they were right into the bus.
Spokane-based Northwestern Stage Lines confirms the bus driver is from Spokane. The owner tells KREM 2 this is a huge loss for the company. We have learned the driver served for 15 years with care, skill, and commitment, the owner says, and was deeply respected by coworkers and passengers.
He was a really good guy from what I seen. He made a joke. I don't remember what it was, but he was a really good guy.
WSP is still investigating. 2 17-year-olds in that Toyota Camry were also killed. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Weather had an impact this past week. Let's take a look.
One of Spokane's partners for inclement weather is the Salvation Army, and here I am at the warming center with 25 beds available. And the one unique thing I am told about this establishment is there's no required reservation ahead of time to get a bed.
The Salvation Army is doing all it can to keep people warm during the first 0-degree temperatures without the Trent Resource and Assistance Center, or TRAC, now that it's closed.
We closed our largest shelter operated by the Salvation Army. We had 500 available beds last winter, and this year we have a significantly lower availability of cold weather beds. We already have individuals that come to the Salvation Army because they know the shield and they know that it represents hope.
The city of Spokane says it now has shelter beds available citywide, so even before the severe cold set in, Kane says they were already feeling overwhelmed.
These sub-zero temperatures are scary.
And he has good reason. According to the Spokane County Medical Examiner, there were 10 cold weather deaths in 2023 and 12 deaths in 2024.
Their fingers and their toes are so cold. Having a good, safe place to actually kind of unpeel the layers in order to kind of warm up their body temperatures. And then when they do go back out the next morning, their outer layers actually help warm them up again.
This warming center is located at Salvation Army's The Way Out facility. It's one of 5 shelter locations designated for severe weather, where the city of Spokane invested $800,000 to establish 133 surge beds for those in need during harsh conditions.
Spaces like this are incredibly important to make sure that people are found and being able to be seen.
When space runs out here, I am told those in need will be bused to other locations where they can stay warm. In Spokane, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
It's one of the busiest times of the year for Matt Hagan and his family. Calving season, a time for new life and new joys at Hagan Cattle and Hay. For decades, the family's had dozens of calves born at the ranch every late winter, and this year's no exception.
The 2 big months are January, February. So that is by far the largest percentage. I'd say 95% 5% are calved out then, and then usually there's a couple in early March.
The family has plenty of tools to help them out, including blankets, cameras, and a calf warmer.
Call that the Easy Bake Oven. That is a chamber that the calves can go into that has a heater.
But this stretch of below freezing temperatures causing concerns for the survival of their newborn calves.
They come out wet, and if they don't get taken care of soon, whether it's the mom or us or both, they are in for a lot of trouble when it gets really cold.
While a bright sunny day's not much of an issue, Hagen says the overnight temperatures are a different story.
Tonight it's supposed to get either negative or 0 for sure if you're hours pushing it. So 1 hour's pushing it. If there gets to be winds, you're definitely under an hour.
Jeff Oliveras, a clinical assistant professor at WSU Veterinary Teaching Hospital, agrees.
And especially in these temperatures that are sub-zero that we're experiencing, the minutes could make a difference in these calves' lives.
So the family will keep working this calving season. And while it's hard work that never seems to quite end, Hagen says it's all worth it.
If you come out and you see the animals just kind of hanging out, pretty mellow and content, and everyone's healthy, that makes you feel good. That makes it worth all the sacrifice and time and energy and money that you put into it.
As we go to break, here's a check of your weekend forecast. Thanks for joining KREM 2 News this weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, we're taking a look back at some of the news stories from the past week.
According to court documents, Scraps has been investigating wild wolf kennels for months, but a complaint last year kickstarted the investigation. That led to the business's license being suspended after multiple failed inspections. According to the docs, multiple complaints were made against Wild Wolf Kennels about the conditions of animals who were adopted from the facility and the quality of life for the animals on the property. In June of last year, an animal protection officer responded to those complaints of negligence and found that all the animals on the property at that time appeared in good health, noting that there were 105 dogs at the kennel, which was over the legal limit for their permit. The kennel was given 2 months to bring down the number of dogs on the property. Flash forward to January 11th of this year, 2 officers went to Wild Wolf for a random inspection. After looking at the animals and their living conditions, documents say the owner failed the inspection for foul odor, inadequate water supplied to animals, and no sick animal isolation area. On January 25th, Scraps officers as well as 2 veterinarians showed up at Wild Wolf Kennels for a re-inspection. Documents show that officers flagged multiple issues throughout the property like dirty or frozen water and health issues with animals ranging from overgrown hooves to malnourishment. In the documents, it says the owner kept animals inside of her residential house as well, and when officers got inside, they found a strong and potent odor, which caused an officer to cough, and they reported a burning sensation to their eyes and nose. In total, Scraps is reporting that 171 animals were seized from the kennel, which included both domestic animals like dogs and cats, as well as livestock like miniature horses and goats. The owner's license was suspended and she's being investigated for unsafe confinement, animal cruelty in the 2nd degree, along with multiple breeding code violations. The owner of Wild Wolf Kennels has until the end of the month if she wants to get her animals back, but she's going to have to pay close to $69,000 plus veterinary expenses to do so. Now, we did reach out to the owner to see if she had anything to say about the situation, but she hasn't gotten back to us just yet. In Spokane Valley, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Let's get you an update on Spokane Public Schools.
Superintendent Adam Swinyard says the district is closely watching the situation on Capitol Hill, but for now, he's advising families and faculty not to fear the ever-shifting national narrative. Spokane's public school district is used to change. A new legislature, new president. It's been nothing new for Superintendent Adam Swinyard.
This moment is unique in that the volume of the conversation and the volume of proposed actions is high.
And in this moment, if President Donald Trump's promises become policy, is the dissolution of the Department of Education.
Sending all education and education work and needs back to the states.
It's really waiting to see what will actually translate to the local level in policy.
Swinyard says the district is watching, listening, but not acting just yet, except to look to the state superintendent for guidance and discussing internally what could happen if DOE is dismantled.
We're modeling and evaluating how that will impact our school district. So certainly there's preparatory conversations that are happening.
He says one of the main preparations is for possible federal funding cuts or disruptions.
Which is not the majority of our funding, but it is an important aspect. For example, Title I funding, which is resources that schools with a concentration of poverty receive. If there's any shift in that funding, then that will definitely have an impact in the programmings and staffing.
The Education Law Center reports Washington State stands to lose more than $845 million funding that goes to low-income, unhoused students, small and rural schools, and special education. Swinyard says the district's accustomed to ups and downs in funding and policy, so they'll take it as it comes. He says the focus is their students.
Let's watch, let's listen. Let's look to our state agency, and today in Spokane Public Schools, let's love kids.
The potential loss of federal funding comes at a time when Swinyard says the district has been facing budget contractions of around $15 million every year. He says they are looking at another one this year, but because they have planned ahead, he says that won't mean any significant cuts to staff or services. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Coming up, a Boomtown update.
Spokane's skyline could start to look a little bit different thanks to that proposed ordinance that would eliminate building height restrictions.
It adds skyline to the city, and I think you have room for it.
Hello, I'm Cody Proctor. Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News. You're watching the Week in Review, where we bring you some of the biggest news stories of the past week. KREM 2 News brings you the latest on growth and development here in the Inland Northwest. Here now is a Boomtown update.
Well, Spokane's skyline could start to look a little bit different thanks to that proposed ordinance that would eliminate building height restrictions.
It adds skyline to the city, and I think you have room for it. And quite frankly, when I first came over here, I thought for a city with this population, I was kind of surprised that the skyline was just tapered down as it was.
Jenny Poyer has lived in Spokane since the 1970s. She thinks this ordinance could bring back the part of Spokane she loved most.
We used to live in a condo that viewed the city, and we have moved since then. But the best thing about that is I had the view of the city, so the skyline of the lights were beautiful.
The proposed legislation is designed to expand an existing zone that has no height restrictions. The city says the legislation will help with economic growth and combat the housing crisis.
I think as long as they're located in a cluster and kind of kept in a zone.
I think it would depend on the cost of what they're putting in as well. That makes a big factor of low income, medium income, and maybe there was a variety of that to let everybody experience that.
The legislation goes into effect for 6 months if it's approved by City Council and signed by Mayor Brown. After that, the city will decide if the legislation will be made permanent as part of the city's comprehensive plan to be approved in 2026. In Spokane, Caitlin Galloway, KREM 2 News.
Taking a look at sports news from this past week. Let's get you the latest from Gonzaga.
An opportunity for the record, and there's a new top bulldog in town, Yvonne Ejim.
It's no surprise, honestly, because she works so hard. She's so diligent. She is so strong, so athletic, and just determined. And I think that's what it takes, right? That ability to take over a game and say, like, all right, this is mine now. Give me the ball. That's something that she has and that I think she's grown into, especially more this year.
It has been quite the 5th season for Ejim in Spokane. It began in the summer when she represented her country in the Paris Olympics. She has gone on to become the all-time Gonzaga leader in made field goals and rebounding, and is the first West Coast Conference player to ever reach 2,000 career points and 1,000 career rebounds.
She really is I don't know how many tools they say in basketball, 5 tools. I mean, there's not much that she can't do. She's a hell of a basketball player. She's a high-level draft pick, and she's going to have a long career, and then she's going to fix us all as a doctor after. So she's a pretty remarkable person.
Ejim only needed 15 points on Thursday to break Heather Bowman's record of 2,165 career points and become Gonzaga's all-time scoring leader. She accomplished the feat before halftime.
These records are meant to be broken, right? And that's the cool thing. It's like the program is getting better. Team's getting better, these are going to be broken, and that's the whole point of it, is that you want to leave it better than you found it. And I think Ejim is an incredible example of that, of developing this program on and off the court through the past 5 years.
It's just a really amazing feeling, just knowing that I'm doing it with my team, with this school, for this program. I'm very excited, and I'm very happy that I got to do that accolade. I know a lot of people were rooting for me, especially Heather Bowman, so it's just great to be up there with such amazing people who have come before me in this program, and I hope that my path right now just helps build like a new legacy of people and players to come.
With the record behind her, Ejim is now relishing every moment left in her college career.
Every time I step onto the court, or like put on a different jersey color, or like go to like the away games for like the last time in conference, like just soaking up some of those moments, just knowing that they'll be cherished later on. But I mean, like from the beginning, like just cherishing my time here with the people I'm with and the place that I'm at.
Welcome back. Before we wrap up this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review, we want to remind you that you can get the latest newscasts and weather forecasts anytime on KREM 2 Plus. It is free to watch and download for Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Now here's one more story before we go.
Like most 4-year-olds, Abigail loves to play, and she knows what she likes.
This is a pink whale tail, and this is a mermaid.
The heart charm is her favorite, which, if you know Abigail's story, makes perfect sense.
When she was 4 days old, that's when she had her first heart cath procedure. 2 weeks later, when she was 18 days old, is when she had her open heart surgery.
Cora Kelly was just 20 weeks pregnant when doctors discovered Abigail's heart defect. She had a very abnormal pulmonary valve, which caused extreme problems with her right ventricle.
It was really sad, devastating, hard to process.
The process made even more challenging because Cora and her husband felt so isolated in the beginning.
We were introduced to more families who were going through exactly what we were going through, and that made a huge difference, just knowing we weren't alone.
And that's one reason why each February the family celebrates Abigail's Heartiversary during American Heart Month.
I'll set a strawberry beside while I'm cooking.
Dr. Carl Garabedian is on the team taking care of Abigail.
All the conditions we care for are quite rare, but we see a lot of congenital heart disease here in our center, and we have seen this before.
But Dr. Garabedian says many people with heart defects don't get the treatments or standard of care needed, and that's something to focus on this Heart Month.
We know that only about 25% of people in our community who are born with congenital heart disease are actually getting care.
Luckily for Abigail and her family, the right care was there, available, but certainly not easy. At 4, Abigail has had multiple procedures and 2 different heart surgeries, but her mom says she's thriving. And like her lucky charm, she sparkles.
It's really cool to see like where we've come.
Thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Keep it here on KREM 2 for more news throughout the weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for watching.